Hello, Booknerds. Welcome to the Booknerds podcast. And we are super ecstatic today because we are in for a great ride because it's an amazing book. It's an out of the box book, I must say. I've been reading it throughout this week. And as I was discussing with the author, it's quite different from what we expect. And there have been some rave reviews coming in from the best authors out there. Uh, First of all, I would like to introduce the author, Mr. Anirudh Kala, who is a Ludhiana-based psychiatrist, and I'm quite worried, to be honest, to be in conversation with him. My inner demons might just, pop up, and I don't like that. Okay, so first of all, welcome to the podcast, sir, and I would then, of course, tell everyone more about you.
Thank you very much, Rohan. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me here. And you can relax. I don't work on weekends. So I just do
Oh
this.
my- Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are here to talk about this book, and it's called Two and a Half Rivers. The title is quite interesting, and for a bit, I was like, "What's happening here? Why I'm not getting this title?" But when you eventually read the book, you'll get a hang of it. Before we start the questions, and of course, we ask Anirudhji a lot of them. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is he has got a lot of shocks, if I can say. He enjoys Urdu poetry, hiking, and semi classical music. And he has written another book, which was his first book, The Unsafe Asylum: Stories of Partition and Madness. This is his second book. Also, while reading the book, I could totally understand how his profession helps him in drawing these beautiful characters who have got depth. And I'm not just saying it for the sake of it, of sounding hagiographical. I shouldn't, but it's the truth. Okay, sir. First of all, you are doing like fiction writing, and you are, of course, don't work
Yes.
on weekends. So I believe, where do these two meet, and what happens? How do you separate the two, or don't want to separate the two?
Actually, I don't want to separate the two. And I think the so-called classification into two tight compartments is artificial. Uh, I actually believe sometimes that there is nothing is 100% fiction, uh, and particularly these two so-called, supposed to be very different compartments. There is a lot of overlap, particularly when you read or write historical fiction, so-called historical fiction. But because here what happens is that the essence of it is true, but the details aren't.
Yeah.
Uh, so a lot of it is fiction. The characters are fictitious. The very detailed details are fictitious. But the fact is that all of this happened.
Yeah.
So that is the way it is. And I
Yeah.
think that's true for a lot of historical fiction.
Right. So I talked about, of course, advanced praise, and the awesome Jerry Pinto says about your book that how do you tell of the tragedy of a state ravaged by political tensions and a religious war? Anirudh Kala offers us three unforgettable characters: a depressive doctor and a young Dalit couple who are struggling with an oppression that is centuries old and completely indifferent to the promises of Guru Nanak. Punjab has found its Graham Greene and its Bahumil Harabal. So it's a huge compliment coming from such a prolific and amazing author. Um, Also, where he mentions, contrary to the teachings of Guru Nanak, because I recently read Sarpreet Singh's book on Sikhism, and it's true. And tell us more. I mean, because this entire landscape that you have created, it's quite, uh, can I say, it's quite out of the box, to be honest, because all these aspects together have not been kind of projected in a book, if I'm not wrong.
Firstly, Jerry Pinto has been very generous,
Okay.
and he's a very nice man. And, so anyway, as far as Punjab is concerned, a lot of the things, Punjab actually suffered from being stereotyped
Yeah.
outside Punjab,
Yeah.
uh, and which is like most stereotypes, is not true.
Yeah.
Uh, and See, the Sikh religion is the formal Sikh religion is 3 centuries old, while Guru Nanak Dev was 500 years back,
Yeah.
less than
Yeah.
400, 150 years back.
Yeah.
But the caste thing is much older.
Yeah.
So it will probably take time to be more impacted by the essence of Sikhism, which actually says that एक नूर तो सब जग उपजया कौन
Yeah.
भले कौन चंगे, which means that the whole world was born from one light and there is nothing,
Yeah.
there are no good men and there are no bad men.
Right. Yeah. So, on page 13, it was quite intriguing that, just on this topic itself, you talk about how do I pronounce it? Is it Vera, Vera, or
Veda,
uh,
Veda,
Veda, Veda,
uh,
Veda? Okay. This
yeah,
Veda stood
it is
to
a
the
court.
west. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, no, no,
You
please.
was
Veda is a
okay. Okay.
courtyard. Veda is actually a courtyard, the word for courtyard.
Yes, 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 yes. So this Veda stood to the west of the main village so that the rays of the rising sun reached Jat homes directly without being polluted by the Dalits. The dirty water drain ran from east to west based on the same fuzzy logic. In the years that this part of the story is based, that tradition was still enforced rigidly. It's quite hard hitting, and that people went to that extent to kind of establish that. Would you like to comment on this, because it's quite it's quite hard hitting for me?
There is a so-called logic to all discrimination,
Yeah.
The logic is has to be manufactured, for it
Right.
to sound logical or credible. Fortunately, things are somewhat better, not much better, I would say.
Yeah.
But things are better because of organic reasons rather than
Yeah.
people having changed. Because
Yeah.
the Vedas now are have grown beyond
Yeah.
those walls.
Yeah.
So that is why there are people now living outside the
Yeah.
Veda, also the lower caste.
Yeah.
But the concept stays.
Right.
Almost each village has two gurudwaras, but
Right.
now the stopping of the road being
Yeah.
stopped from going to the Jat gurudwaras, that
Right.
happens to a much less extent.
Right.
But even then, most villages have two gurudwaras.
Okay. Okay. So on page 20, you have mentioned that Sikhism, of course, like you mentioned, Kudrat de sab bande. And this is just a
Mhm.
follow up question to this, and of course, we'll go on to other things. Um, over a period of time in almost all religions, I mean, this has happened. And how do we kind of, not fight as such, but kind of, uh, diminish this? Because as you mentioned, it has, kind of diminished, but it's still there. Is it related to literacy, or it's just, something that has been going on for so long that it's no more a sort of surprise to anyone?
It is to do with the human tendency to not let go of power.
Okay. Yeah.
It is a power thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. uh,
And because then sharing, one will have to share that power. It's
right.
not
Right.
just the money thing,
Yeah.
it's the power thing.
Yeah. Okay, so the inception of the novel, of course, you have written one more fiction earlier, and the second one, why this landscape? Because it's quite complicated, to be honest. I mean, when you start reading the book, you feel, okay, what's happening? There are some protagonists. Why are they connected? It's quite a, I would say, the one line premise is quite, unique. So tell us a little bit about that. And of course, we are glad that Niyogi let us do this. So shout out to them, Niyogi Books.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Yeah, it was just that, the inception of the idea, because the one line premise, like, a depressed doctor and a young Dalit couple caught in the vortex of an
Oh,
armed insurgency. It's quite, unique. And I mean, it just doesn't pop up in you. I mean, how did that pop up in your head? That there must be some background. So, yeah,
see, the background is that there had to be a narrator,
yeah,
and for the narrator to be sort of impartial narrator,
yeah,
uh, it had to be neither a Sikh nor a lower caste person.
right, right.
Otherwise, it would have been, a lot of it would have been subjective.
Yes,
And to get things, sometimes totally objective, one
yeah,
has to be sort of little off, psychologically.
yes.
You
I
you
mean,
get
great.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's totally, logical, because if you are on either side, kind of, then
Yes.
it becomes sort of biased, perhaps, and it's a
Yes.
task. Yeah.
Yes.
So, also a huge part of the novel is about understanding the mind. You have talked about, of course, all the stigmas about depression. And on page 60, you have mentioned that reality is pretty psychotic. And that was something, oh my gosh. I was like, okay. So my mind was like, my mind was boggled, to be honest. And would you like to shed some light on that? Because these are some parts which I suppose you are best to, kind of make us understand. Reality is pretty psychotic these days. It's so profound, and at the same time so simple. So please tell us more about why you have written this.
See, this question is faced by all mental health professionals, all psychiatrists,
Yeah,
when things in society go haywire.
right.
Because one of the premise of, a person not being ill
Yeah,
is that he is the exception.
right.
And the, real reality is actually just consensual validation.
Yeah,
Uh, and if the majority becomes like that, then how is
right,
that person psychotic?
right. Wow. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. The protagonist was so interesting for me, because this guy is a doctor himself. He is in depression. I mean, he has gone through a lot. um uh, eh, did I mean, because it's tough to kind of, it's very tough to relate with the protagonist like that, or should we not? Why this choice of kind of, making that person the protagonist? And tell us more about your experiences with the people. I mean, you can't, of course, because you can't share much, but how did that kind of help you in, sketching these characters, especially the protagonist? It was incredible, to be honest. It was some character.
See, the one of the perks of being a psychiatrist is that people pay you to listen to their stories.
Yeah,
And this, when all the psychiatrists of Punjab lived through those decade and a half, most of them saw such patients
yeah,
from all walks of life, from not just the lower caste, from the jars, from the militants,
yeah.
also because I mean militants also are human beings. They are subject to the same
True, true.
illnesses, and
Yeah,
of course, many times one knew, but one pretended one doesn't know.
right.
But so that is that some of these characters they do actually have a
Yeah.
lot of things, not in one person, but condensed from three, four people's stories
Right.
to make it
Right.
one person.
Goodness, I mean, you are quite an awesome combination, because being a psychiatrist, you already are studying so many people, and of course, writers are,
Yes.
known to be kind of, you
Known
know,
to, yes.
yeah, they, learn
Oh,
from everything. So, my follow-up question was, and I'll go back to this because it was quite interesting for me, because mental health, of course, it's important, very important right now with social media and everything going on. So it's very important. Also, regarding the title, Two and a Half Rivers, and you have kind of explained it in the book, but those readers who would like to pick up the book, would you like to tell them more about why this title, and what is the significance of it?
see, the significance of it is that whenever we talk of Punjab, the very word Punjab means Punjab,
Yeah.
which is five rivers.
Yeah.
That is how the name of the state derives from.
Yeah.
And it is the irony of the history is that the larger part of Punjab, pre-partition Punjab, went to Pakistan. We were
Okay.
left with the smaller part of Punjab. And
Yeah.
although our rivers uh, go to the west and pass through Pakistan,
Yes.
uh, but so they still have, those five rivers. But
Right.
Punjab itself has with a subsequent partition, which we actually, it was a self goal by the Punjabis when the state was divided into Punjab and
Right.
Haryana. So we were actually left with two and a half rivers, which is Seclusion and Beas, and one
Right.
bank of Ravi. The other bank of Ravi is in Himachal, J&K, hilly states.
Yes.
So two full rivers and one bank makes it two and a half. It's more of an irony rather than a literal, thing.
Right. Yeah. Uh, I would love to know about your influences, because for a second fiction novel, I don't know if you were writing before that, but what have you been reading all these years? Tell us a little bit about that. Do you get an opportunity to kind of delve into different writing and kind of learn on the go also?
Yes, I do. I have been reading throughout, since the student days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever time one got, one read about other
Yeah.
stories and fiction mainly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, any recommendations,
And
sir, for, because this is a kind of a book club community? If you have any recommendations for us for the past, like maybe you have read something in the past couple of years, which kind of affected you.
since if I'm a fond of historical fiction,
Okay.
uh, and I don't know how many of people would have read Farooqui Saab's Kai Chand Sare Asman, which
Okay.
is in Hindi and Urdu. It is also there
Yes.
in English.
Yes.
Kurutulan Haider, Aag Ka
Yes.
Darya.
Okay.
Uh, uh, Pamuk Orhan, My Name is Red. This again is an ancient
Yes.
historical fiction.
Yes.
So
Yes.
basically, that genre.
Right. And you have also kind of woven in some poetry as well, because I read in your bio also that you have a soft corner for Urdu poetry, and kind of recite as well. Tell us more. And you have mentioned, also thanked Nirupama Dutt for that. You have mentioned some poetry from there. Would you like to tell us more about that, because it was quite intriguing. This is a quite a combination that was going on in the book.
Yes, see, not many people know that before this Khalistan insurgency,
Yeah.
which lasted for about 14 years, 13, 14 years,
Yeah.
a decade before that, there was another insurgency, which was the leftist Naxalite insurgency
Right.
in Punjab.
Yeah.
uh, which was, which was crushed in a relatively shorter time.
Right.
But those activists of those times,
Yeah.
many of them wrote lovely poetry. I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't. And Lal Singh
Yeah.
is one of those poets, leftist poets.
Right.
It was in Punjabi, and this is what Nirupama Dutt had translated into English, from where I had borrowed
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
verses. So
Right.
there is a history of leftist poetry, Pash, in Punjab. In addition to
Right.
the Sufi poetry, which is much old.
Of course, that I mean, we have kind of uh, a lot has been talked about that, and
Yes,
we
yes,
know about that. Also, at one point, Bhim, a character in the book, recites, "Take away the earth, take away the word, take away the meaning too, take away the ancient, take away the sun, just leave me the night.
yes,
It's in the night that Laila comes out of Majnu's side. She'll come yet, for the earth still wet and the footprints fresh." It's beautiful.
yes,
And uh,
yes.
I actually wanted to ask, this is, it's an English translation.
This is
So,
Nirupama Dutt's translation. Yes,
okay, this is the one. Okay, so this is
yes,
directly from Punjabi, is it?
yes. This is directly from.
Awesome. So this kind of structure, um, was it suggested by the editor or the publishing house, or it was just organic that it had to be kind of like this, and it kind of weaves into the plot?
No, publishers didn't see the book long
Okay.
after it was written, so they
Okay.
had
Okay.
nothing to.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It was
So
organic.
yeah. So, what's your opinion on like the editor-author camaraderie? Because on some books it's really important, and some books it's kind of it's in the background and not so much. With regard to this book, it's a book which has got a lot of I would say very important issues that have been addressed, and we are thankful to you that you have addressed those issues. Um, so tell us a bit about that camaraderie. Was it there for this book or the previous one, or what were the changes?
It was there for the previous book, and it was there a lot. And I'm
Okay.
thankful to the editor. As far as
Yeah.
this book is concerned, the editors did help a lot, but that was mostly in the line editing,
Yeah.
not much about the structure.
Okay. Okay.
The structure is more or less unchanged by the editors.
Yeah.
But of
That's a
course,
great thing.
yes, things here and there were,
Yeah.
changed, but not in a major way.
So pretty much it was a solid manuscript. I get the idea that Niyogi didn't have to, kind of delve deep. Okay, Nidhi Anand is asking, sir, please tell us something about the kind of research that went into the writing of this book, and how long did it take you to pen it?
It took me about 2.5 years. See,
Yeah.
many times what happens is that it is in your mind for a long time. It is incubating.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Even before you have started writing, and sometimes that time is very long.
Right.
And then there comes a time that when you say that, okay, I know this is roughly what I am going to write about, and that
Yeah.
is the time you start. And
Yeah.
when we say, this was the time that it took me to write, we
Yeah.
normally don't include that. But
Right.
that just the writing took me 2.5 years.
Right.
And
So yeah,
sorry.
please go ahead, sir. I'll ask my question later.
Uh, No, the research is very important in all writings about historical fiction.
Yeah.
Just because you claim that technically this is fiction, and but you cannot trip on facts.
Yeah.
Uh, so it took me a lot of time because I was talking about something very serious, and it couldn't have been implausible, or it just didn't happen the way you
Right.
said it. Of course,
Right.
liberties have been taken, but
Yeah.
that are mostly, in the details.
Right. Great. So also Sweta asked that about partition. I mean, how is there a significant part that you have addressed in the book? And I wouldn't be revealing anything, but uh, about partition, and how did it have an impact on this book being created? I think that's the question.
See, it had the impact, not a direct impact on this book,
Yeah.
but of course, Punjab, whenever you write about Punjab partition would come in because it was
Right,
just 70 years back.
right,
And many of the problems that we are talking about are leftover from partition.
right.
See, there is this history that Sikhs were, at one time promised a separate state and then they didn't get it, and that's part of the reason of the resentment.
Yeah,
So, yes, partition would come in whatever you do about Punjab, whether it is the economy or the literature or the philosophy or syncretism. See, partition also comes in Punjab because there were just two states which were divided, Punjab and Bengal. And these are
yeah,
the, Punjabis, Bengalis, they were the ones who suffered, they were the ones who made others suffer, they were the ones who killed, they were the ones who got killed also.
yeah,
But they are also the ones who have no animosity towards
yeah,
Pakistani people.
yeah,
These are just two states which say that we don't have a problem with those people.
yeah, yeah.
While many other states will say, how this is thing, enemy
Yes, yes,
thing.
truly. Truly, it's I mean, it is so true. Also, let's talk about Dr. Saab. And I really loved him, the way he was a recluse. He was staying in, he I mean, he wanted to recreate something which he had experienced in I think so, where was this, Welsh? I think so. And he's
Yeah.
trying to kind of go back to it. And so, tell us something, a person who is not doing so well mentally, living alone, how does that work for somebody like that? And of course, there are loads of other things that are happening in the book, which people have to buy the book, read it, and then experience. But just that kind of thing, that you are living alone and you are not doing so well, how do you know that first of all you're not doing well?
See, he wasn't doing well at all, and it wasn't working for him at all. And that was the reason, for example, if he were doing well mentally, he would be staying at a place where he did
Yeah, yeah,
in those times.
yeah.
And even in the story, he was told, "Look, you are mad to be living here." Anyway,
Right.
so but as far as depression is concerned, depression just makes you feel very low and desperate and at times suicidal. But it doesn't cloud your cognition. It doesn't cloud your memory. It doesn't cloud your most of the times observational powers. It
Yeah,
might color it a little bit,
right.
but so that only a, fatalistic person could observe it and then sort of narrate it and
Right.
go through it and still keep on living there.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. I mean, we talked in the beginning of this podcast that how you are a psychiatrist and a writer. Is it somewhat therapeutic when you're writing? Because you are experiencing so much. That is it like that? Does it work like that?
It does. The various things work for different psychiatrists. Well, this worked for some, and including me. It certainly does. Certainly
Yeah.
does.
Great. So we talked about partition. There is a huge part of the book where the boys are mentioned, and I'm quoting because it's not the real name. It's just something that has been mentioned in the book. But um, why have you included the boys? Because is it because it's creating conflict? Because some of things have happened also. So a little bit about that, because this was quite um, quite at the fulcrum of this novel, to be honest.
Yes, yes. When this whole thing started, the insurgency uh, in the late 70s, early 80s, uh, initially they were called terrorists, and by the newspapers and by the media,
Right. Yeah.
and there was a reaction from the militants, and
Yes.
they actually, threatened the editors,
Right.
and the editors started, then not using the word terrorist and just saying militants. No,
Yeah.
but as far as the common people were concerned, they were actually called munde. Munde is the Punjabi word for boys, so it's not
Okay.
fiction.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. See, munde because they were all young people.
Ah. Okay. Okay. Got the idea. Yeah.
So this is just a literal boys is just a literal transition from off munde, which actually happened. That's the way it was.
Right. Right. Actually, I was not planning on asking you this, but when I read the book, and I felt that it could easily have been a non-fiction also, and perhaps it would have worked there as well, in that case as well. So, this choice of kind of, writing fiction, was it more comfortable for you, or you thought that this is the right thing for this topic?
I think that fiction is that I could write. I thought I could write better.
Okay.
Non-fiction, although I've now written a non-fiction book, but when you're, you know, delving into history,
Right.
uh, one has to be, an expert, and which I'm not. And secondly, I think the more important thing was that apart from apart from the important fact that this happened,
Yeah.
in my mind, far more important is this, that this might happen again.
Wow. Wow.
And that can be better addressed by through a fiction
Right. Right.
book rather than by a non-fiction.
Right. Right.
Because then the
I
same things can apply again.
Right. Right. I think, yeah, just a moment. Okay, great. Uh, uh okay, great. So I think so. A lot of questions have been asked. Somebody is asking, "Are you from Ludhiana?" Yes, sir is from Ludhiana. Sir, are you still there in Ludhiana?
Hello,
Somebody is asking in the comments. Gulshan is asking, "Are you from Ludhiana?"
I am from Ludhiana, yes.
Great, great, great. Awesome. So, thank you so much, sir, for being on the podcast. Especially, this book is super important, I must say, because, I mean, it's of course out of the box. It is, I would say it's beyond research because you have experienced this. I mean, firsthand, it has happened around you, which is quite surreal, to be honest, because we sometimes, kind of miss out on this. I mean, it doesn't show up in the breaking news, right? And this has happened, right? And it might
No,
just happen again,
no,
which is quite scary, like you mentioned. But
yes.
that's why it makes it an amazing book. Thank you so much for writing it. And we are looking forward to so much more.
Thank you very much, Rohan, Neha, and thank you, audience. Thank you very much for having me.
And guys, you have to go on Amazon, pick up a copy. You can leave a review there. Also, Anirudh sir will be available perhaps on social media. I don't know if he gets the time during the week, but perhaps weekends, he could answer your questions. Any sort of questions you can ask him. And
Sure.
if you can't reach him, send us questions via email or via social media. Um, Pick up a copy. I would recommend this to you, and one of the finer things I have read this year at least. Thank you so much for writing this, sir. And for any other book related content, you can always check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you so much. Until next time.
Thank you. Thank you.